I want to set the stage now for our next speaker. Our next speaker will come from IBM. Subramanian from IBM. Just a question. What has got a bread slicing machine got to do with a project called Debate? Any idea? No? Well, Rumana certainly will tell us, because IBM was translated by International Business Machines, and one of their most successful products in 1920 was a bread slicing machine. Now I'm very curious what IBM is coming up now. So give Rumana a hand.
Thank you. Setting that stage and taking us through the entire journey of what AI can do. That's where we are, and we need to really use AI to our advantage and make this world a better place. And it's really a privilege to be amongst everybody who's thinking in that direction, right? And thank you for this opportunity as well, Jose. Of course, I'm going to start with, there is a difference between machine learning and AI, and if it's written in Python, it's probably machine learning, right? You with me? It's a critical distinction, okay? And if it's written in PowerPoint, then it's probably AI. It's a joke, right? And some of you got it. Because this is going to be a critical part of the whole session, and we see so much of AI written on PowerPoints, and it's really important to get it into real life, and that's what Jan was taking us through, and what are the different aspects of AI that we can use. And this is not, AI is not a magical box, right? It's not something that you wave your wand and then everything is going to come live, and you really need to put the human into it, you need to put the governance into it, you need to put a lot of data into it, and each one of us is producing so much data in today's world, and that is going to be the greatest foundation you can lay for the better use of AI in this world, and the ML as well, right? The ML starts with data, and the more right data you put in, the more you can use AI in the right direction. So what is AI really? It's ultimately about three things, and we've been hearing this since morning, and you're seeing different avatars of AI, right? But if you can sum it up in three things, it's about predictions, it's about automation, and optimizing your time. That's what we need to use AI for. Companies want to predict what's going to happen in their business. That's the business side of it. The automation is this value being able to automate the process of predicting, getting analytics, insights, and allowing their employees or the human factor to produce high value work, and optimizing the time of that organization or an individual that they spend on anything. Now that doesn't mean it doesn't require any effort on our side. We have a responsibility, we have a engagement that we need to have to help adopt AI for our own success and the success of this world. That's why we've developed a better way of transforming AI in different directions. But given all that, how do you really scale AI, right? Unless it's going to be democratized, and to all the examples that have been talking about, it can be in one city, and ma'am, to your point, right, you want to expand this to multiple cities. How do you really scale this? How do you really bring it to every city in this world? It's about building that scalability into that data analytics. It's about building that scale, understanding the model, and continuously evolving those models to ensure that you're able to bring it to every part. And of course, Jan, to your point on trust and transparency, right? So there is, you will need to use the technology to build the trust and transparency. And that starts with the human beings. That starts with whatever, it's garbage in, garbage out. And we all know this. The data, the purity of the data, the purity of the learning that you allow the machine to take on, that's what is going to define the trust and transparency over a period of time. And we've seen this in our own examples of, when we did healthcare, we used Watson to the one that you were alluding to is Watson is the one that won Jeopardy long ago, and that was IBM's venture into, AI as well. And now it's gone way ahead of games. It's come into now healthcare. We're using it we've in fact worked with, almost every government in the world and in India as well, a lot of state governments, including Karnataka, to build that trust and transparency-led smarter city, interpretations of AI as well. So what I'm going to do is take you through probably 4 examples. And when I was talking to Jose, he said, tell us what you've done and not how you've done it, because that gets into the technical part of it, and we can take that offline. This is about, creating that aspiration and what actual cities have done so that we can, this is not the end of that example, right? How do you really adapt that example and take it forward in different areas of what we are trying to do here? Of course, I need to set the context by saying that this does not replace human beings. That's the biggest fear that people have. When we go and talk to children about AI, when we talk to employees about AI or automation, and the first thing that comes to their mind is even media, right? That's the thought that comes. Is it going to replace human beings? Of course not. Of course, but it will replace people or managers who do not use AI. That's the key here. So it's important that we, thank you. Okay. This is the first example that I'm going to talk about where we had a partner in RepoCyber, and what they did is they got, together, it's not an app, it's an entire solution, in Israel. What they did is they got they were continuously getting a lot of, information into the police database, and they were trying to see how to respond, to those queries very quickly. So that's another thing, right? You have the data, you have the, the dashboard probably, but how do you take that insight and respond to the queries of the citizens very quickly? So they needed a highly secure, platform to build and deploy an AI-enhanced app that would allow individuals to anonymously report. So this is again something that we see in our cities, right? Citizens want to report, want to come, forward and talk about the issues that they have in their own surroundings, but they're not able to because they feel that they will face flack or they will lose support. So this is a solution that really allows them to anonymously report or actually send in suggestions. Sometimes people don't want their name on it, but they want to ensure that the entire suggestion is taken forward. So this app actually allows them to do that. And the law enforcement there, and they took this forward, and they were actually handling about 450% more queries on a daily basis, because the AI and the machine learning was such that it would allow them to sort the most important ones. It would bring forward the the red alert ones, and then that's how it was helping the law enforcement there. The next one is, I don't need to say this, that without good governance, there is no good government, or it's good government with good governance. Whichever way you put it, they go along with each other. This is about Jakarta. I mean, this is a little far away from us, but what they did is they built a central platform that actually gathers feedback from mobile and social media channels. Again, bringing the transparency, bringing that approachability to AI and ML and data. And also then they map the data to identify the problem hotspots, right? There are about 10 million people in Jakarta. They divided into about 5 cities, sub-districts, and about 26 villages. That's the size of that place. But again, the city government was receiving an average of about 1,400 messages per day via its custom build. They built a mobile app, sorry to disappoint you, Ann, but that's how they saw the entire engagement happening, because a lot of these new cities or new places that we see, even in Africa, I was in Rwanda like about 4 years ago, they're all mobile first, right? We still are probably on our systems and we carry our laptops, but these cities are actually mobile first. They have younger population, they're constantly on the mobile, giving feedback to the government and giving feedback to their own officers, right? So on top of this, they were sending about 130 SMS messages to the governor. Can you imagine that? 130 messages coming to the governor specifically on what they want in the city. So we had to bring all that together and create an analytics project that actually could use, we used Watson here, which allowed for a complete data analytics. We used a whole suite of solutions to ensure the text analysis and predictive modeling as well that was used here for categorization. And also we built in most of the time what happens in AI is it's not just data, it's also about the sentiment, right? The sentiment analysis is a lot more important, and sometimes people, when there are suicide lines, helplines, and the sentiment analysis actually helps people to identify what state of mind the person is, and the quickest action actually helps save lives. This is very close to our home. This is Odisha. The government, we all know the floods that happened, and just about last year. In fact, we used a lot of developers to actually go there and start coding, solutions that could actually help with the climate problems that we have there. But given that situation, there is also a lot of help that pours in. There's a lot of money that is involved when there is a natural disaster or a crisis, right? So it's, the trust and transparency bit again comes in here. It's important that the money that's actually given to this cause is reaching the right person. We in fact use this not just in Odisha but in Kerala as well, where a solution was, and this was built by the citizens themselves, right? This is not an IBM. Of course, we help them build the solution. We provided technical know-hows and help them with the expertise and the machine and the platform. But we asked the citizen, we did a crowdsourcing here because they are closer to the problem, and this is what they came up with. They had about, they used the analytics to about handle thousands of cases that came their way, to sift through them and ensure there is a transparent fund, allocation and taking up the whole thing, cost for thing. This is my last one. This is again, sometimes we also think that, the places like London don't need this, but they do. This is, to your point of, somebody was asking a question on, the garbage. So this is an app that, solution that London used. During Christmas, we know how much of garbage is thrown out there, and the citizens would constantly call, an equivalent of BBMP to say, when are you going to come and pick up our, garbage? And this solution actually created that entire, channel through use of AI, and the civic body would get an alert for them to come and pick this up. Last but not the least, I think it's the simplest of ideas, or a culmination of all the ideas that need to, come together to make this world a better place. Keep it simple, keep it smart, and then the machine can predict and do the work for you. Thank you.
So it's not anymore about sliced bread. It's about open opportunities to cooperate together. Rumana, I was just wondering, because we're talking about cooperation and partnership here, are your doors open as well, similar like to the guys from Infineon? To, if people come up with ideas, they need some support, some infrastructure, maybe using the IBM Cloud or even use IBM Watson to develop new possible things like intelligent garbage bins or street advices? It's wide open. Give her a hand for that one. It's wide open. Just connect with her during lunch break. The doors are open.